On today's show,
No, DJ, don't touch it! Oh, the Spurs eke out a pivotal Game 5 road win versus the Clippers.
we'll look at how the Rockets got James Harden his first playoff series victory as a #1 guy.
And later in Mail, we'll discuss where Masai Ujiri and the Raptors go from here.
It's Wednesday, April 29th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're joining us live online, you're listening to the podcast, you're catching us on NBA TV, you're watching on YouTube, you're listening on Sirius Radio, doesn't matter how you're doing it. We're happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Pardon any flubs, it was a late one.
To my right, starters blog editor Trey Kirby.
Hey,
And finally, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, who went to bed definitely early, Lee Ellis.
friends.
Lily, I know you watched it in the morning.
Man, it was all those hacker DeAndres that couldn't handle it.
It was a
Couldn't handle
long game, and we're going to get to it. We'll also open up the starters mailbox later in the show. We got a question about the Raptors. I can't wait to talk about the Raptors. But let's start with the games last night, and we got to start with Game 5 between the Spurs and the Clippers. This game really had it all, and yes, it took a while to be played, but you had some great highlights. You had the technical fouls, some questionable calls from the officials, some unexpected performances, and some brain farts. But in the end, Spurs win 111-107 to take the very important Game 5 in the 3-2 series lead.
It was a spectacular game, but against the San Antonio Spurs, you basically have to be perfect to beat them. You got to beat them 4 out of 7 games. You have to be fantastic, and you can't get into it with the officials, and you can't be griping. That's regular season type stuff from Chris Paul. I didn't like that whatsoever. You just can't talk to the refs. It makes absolutely no sense. And then here, when Chris Paul gives the ball to the referee for no reason, he gets called for a tech. You can look at it multiple ways, but there's absolutely no reason to give the ball to the referee. Just step out of bounds and start the play again. So I'm
Maybe
okay.
surprised it wasn't a delay of game, though, and we can get to that. And then he got teched up.
Sure. But he was obviously a little furious. Then you see Blake at the end of the game missing a couple free throws, and then the one that everyone's talking about, obviously, just a few seconds left on the clock. Clips would have been up 1 if this ball rolls in, but DeAndre Jordan touches it. It's called an offensive interference. It's the right call, but it likely would have dropped in. And then this, they could have had another shot, but they allow an offensive rebound on a free throw. Way too many mistakes. This game comes down to one little play here or there, so it's hard to say, hey, the Clippers blew it, because they played a fantastic game. And let's say that ball rolls in, or let's say they throw an alley-oop to DeAndre Jordan. We're talking about a 3-2 series lead for the Clippers, but you almost have to be perfect against the Spurs, and the Clippers just weren't.
They're absolutely right. What do you think, Lee? Was that ball going to drop in, the one that DeAndre gets the offensive interference in touching it?
It depends which angle you look at, really. If you're looking over the top, I think it is about to drop in, but if you're looking from the other side, perhaps it was a little bit harsh, but I think the referee's got it right. And I think DeAndre knows himself. He mentioned after the game that it was a mistake on his behalf.
He did touch it.
But
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, definitely the right call. There's no doubt about that. And it probably was going in, because that didn't look like it had a whole bunch of speed coming off the side to me.
And you see Chris Paul was likely going to get the ball, but Kawhi pulled him down. Obviously no call there. And it's kind of surprising to me that he didn't throw a lob to DeAndre. I mean, that's usually what they do.
True.
And they had plenty of time for that. And DeAndre had Tony Parker on his back, so he definitely would have been able to throw it down.
Well, yeah, they obviously asked DeAndre Jordan about the basket interference after the game. He admitted right away, look, he owned it. It was a dumb play. Don't be so hard on yourself, DeAndre. It was a dumb play. I hit the ball. We did a good job fighting to put us in a situation to go up 1. You can't blame anybody on. You can't blame anybody on that but me. I tipped the ball. There it is. I mean, he tipped it. I mean, we've talked about this rule and whether this should even be in the NBA and whether you should be allowed, like in international basketball, to touch that when it's up there on the rim. A lot of us, we talked, I remember earlier in the season about this. I'm pro going with the international angle and letting these guys go up and go ahead and tip it, but rules are the rules, and he broke them last night.
Yeah, and like I said, right call, what can you do? And he knows it was the right call. He wasn't really even complaining afterwards, which is really saying something for the Clippers. He was more like, what did I do?
He's saying don't call it. That's
exactly.
Yeah, let's go back, though, to the Chris Paul situation there with the official where he got the technical. Obviously, a huge point. I believe Danny Green went up and knocked down the free throw.
He did.
In a very close game. But, you know, again, there's no reason, first off, to give the ball to official. The Spurs score, you can grab it, and you inbound it and go. Usually when this happens, you just get a delay of game, maybe even a warning. But right away, gives them the tag. And so you have to think And especially from Chris Paul's reaction that something was said along with it.
Because there was a lack of a reaction. He didn't argue.
That's exactly right, that he said something to the official to maybe warrant the technical.
Listen, I think Doc Rivers said to his team, just don't talk to the officials. Let me do the talking. And unfortunately, the Clippers get into it with the officials a little too much. They didn't a lot in this game, but those couple instances, that one primarily, really hurt them. And if you listen to J.J. Redick, he was on Zach Lowe's podcast on Grantland, he said, I think this might hurt us one day. The officials know that we yap a lot and we talk a lot, and there might be a call that goes against us. And really, I mean, you just kind of have to keep everything together against this Spurs team. And that's what's killer to watch. They played so great, but these little mistakes obviously hurt.
Yeah, I think you're grading on a curve because to me the Clippers were still talking a lot to the officials and complaining about just about every call, throwing their arms in the air or what have you.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff just adds up, especially when you get to Game 5 of the series and it's been the same thing game after game after game. Things just pile up with the Clippers. They get so mad and then they just melt down.
It's also, to me, a bit an extension of your coach. I know Doc Rivers in the postgame says he doesn't complain much.
Well, he complained in the postgame press conference.
Well, yeah, that's right. And he does complain a lot if you watch the games. He complains a lot. And I think, again, the players on the floor are a bit of an extension of their coach and do the same.
I'm okay with the coach doing it, just not the players. So
even if that call was a little bit harsh for a tech foul, this is what the Clippers can't complain about. They're the most undisciplined team in the league. They led the league in techs. This is an instance where it really caught up with them because Chris Paul, he drilled it at the referee. And if anyone has been...
Whoa. Hold on.
He did.
I'll come to Chris Paul's
like
defense. He did not drill it at the ref. He was upset that they had scored and all the banging bodies down there underneath the net and whatever happened and the turnover from Blake.
Yeah.
And he threw it at the ref, but he did not whip it or fizz it or chuck it or throw it.
It was a great pass. And hey, credit to the ref actually. He's got pretty good hands.
Yeah, it was a good pass.
That is a sign of dissent and disrespect towards the referee.
Okay.
There's nothing you're trying to do by just saying, oh, here, have the ball. We just need to get it set up. You're throwing it at him with intention. And
yeah, because usually the Clippers want to speed up the game and get her going. And that obviously slows down the game because Chris Paul should just take it out of bounds and get her going. It was kind of an odd fourth quarter for Chris Paul for me because I thought Chris Paul was going to take over. He subbed in, 11 minutes left in this game. He had 2 possessions where he was a beast. Unstoppable on that shot. And then this stutter step. Woo! Those are the first 2 possessions as soon as he checked in with 11 minutes left, obviously scoring on both. I love that angle. But then he only took 2 more shots the rest of the quarter. And he made a couple of mistakes. We're going to show it to you again because obviously that was a huge one.
But that's what Doc said before the game. He needs to be more of a scorer, more of a shooter like that. And he was good, but he needs to be almost better and almost to say, I'm going to do all the scoring.
Should Kawhi Leonard have been called for a foul there?
He should have, of course. He got yanked down.
Yeah.
It's hard to call, obviously, ball out of bounds, 6 seconds left in the game, but he got yanked down.
But it would have been 2 shots and possession then if it was called before the play was inbounded to the Clippers. So
it's one of these situations where Clippers fans, they have a right with some of these calls to be like, what? How do we not get this certain call on our home court in a pivotal Game 5? But and I think Doc said this well in the postgame. You can't blame the officials for losing this game because the Clips did a lot of things poorly. Nothing from the bench in this one. Unlike Game 4. Shot 1 of 14 from three-point land. Let alone the Spurs. It's tough to beat anyone in today's game. Shooting 1 for 14.
It's just funny though because DeAndre doesn't tip that ball. They win a game where they shot 1 of 14 from three-point land, right? So the whole story flips. I just think Chris Paul in the fourth quarter has got to shoot a little bit more. I mean, when you see him and he's that unstoppable, and then something happened to Blake where he just had a really bad quarter. He had a spectacular game.
Do you think it was from the fall?
Well, I'm not really sure because he had a couple situations where he just sort of looked exhausted. He's just going to kind of lay out there for a few seconds and just hang out. Obviously, another game where he plays 40-plus minutes, and then had a couple shots that just rimmed in and out.
How does those not go down?
Exactly. And sort of this opportunity here are the ones that really get me. He turned it over on the play before, and then that possession he decides, not going to take it at the rim. You have to when you have the advantage. You have all that space. So, yes, he had a bad fourth quarter. But, again, another spectacular game. Like Game 2, where the Clippers, quote-unquote, gave one away, he had the hack a DJ sort of excuse where in the third quarter the air came out of the building. And it's a bit of an excuse for them. I mean, the air came out of the building for them, and then Blake just didn't have a great fourth quarter. He's 1 of 9, but balls just went in and out.
We talked earlier in the week about the whole hack a DJ, hack a Shaq, hack an ex-player, sending them to the line, the intentional fouls, and how I think it's ruining, to some extent, the game. A casual fan does not want to watch this.
No, you're right.
Okay?
You're 100%
and I know we
right.
can sit here and just go, well, okay, just make your free throws and this is not a problem. But if there are enough guys in the league where coaches wisely will keep doing this to either get the ball back without the other team scoring, or even just to ruin the flow of the game, then we have to address it. If you're trying to get more people to watch the game. It's ugly, it's boring, and it sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, there aren't enough guys that it's really a big deal. It's just a big deal because it's in the playoffs, and you're seeing the same. It's because you're seeing the same guy over and over. It's DeAndre Jordan over and over. If he's shooting 70%, it's not a big deal. Blake Griffin used to get hacked to go to the line. He doesn't anymore. Chris Webber was talking about it. He has big hands. He learned how to shoot free throws. You can learn how to shoot free throws, but it's an effective strategy because, like Tass is saying, it threw Blake Griffin off of his rhythm. He had 22 points before Hackett Jordan started. After that, 8 points on 3 of 11 shooting. He just gets out of it, and it seems to me
everyone gets
that's
out of
a way that the Spurs kind of are messing with the Clippers.
Yeah.
Most of the teams that mess with the Clippers are sending them to the line with hard fouls and trying to get under the skin. They just send them to the line and say, hey, try and make some free throws.
They send
Especially
Matt
on the
Bonner over
road.
to hug him. Yeah, that's what they do.
Especially on the road. I love the Matt Bonner hug. And Greg Popovich talked with Matt Bonner about the hug. Just go hug that guy. But especially on the road, where the Clippers don't have an incredible home court advantage. Then DeAndre Jordan starts going to the line, and then even Steve Ballmer, superfan, is quiet for a little bit. Like, there was just no atmosphere in that building for a good period of time.
You're right, though, Skeets, what you're saying. It is ugly basketball, and we all love basketball. We love watching it. But DeAndre Jordan and these guys just have to make their free throws. It simply will eradicate it once they do.
Sure. One more thing, though, before we leave this block. The Spurs. Got to talk a little bit about...
We barely talked about this special team.
Yeah, about, again, the bench. Because in Game 4, the Clippers got some help, which is very rare all season long from their guys. But in Game 5, this was a little more like the Spurs we know. Patty Mills catching on fire from downtown. Boris Diaw hitting some clutch shots, Lee, in the fourth quarter. I know you're a big Bobo fan. I mean, those two guys, especially Ginobili, chipped in as well. A big reason why the Spurs are so dangerous, because on any given night, one of those guys can step up and win them a quarter or a game.
The basketball IQ from Bobo. He's always aware of what the score is, what the time is on the clock. You saw that crazy turnaround shot, such a critical point. That just really does separate their bench from the Clippers bench. They've got very smart guys who know what they're doing.
It's been a big key storyline, of course, in this series, but it's not over. It's not over. 2 games possibly still to go. Can the Spurs finish it at home?
Sure feels like it's over.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, when we come back, the Rockets say it's over. Take care of the Mavs. We'll break down that series when we return. Welcome back to the Starters. Thanks for looking at our faces.
These are our faces
really
right here.
Appreciate it. Let's get to the Mavs and Rockets series. That wasn't the prettiest performance we've seen from the Houston offense, but they got a little D there in this game, and a nice fourth quarter surge was enough for Houston to eliminate the Mavs 103-94, won their first round of a playoff series in a long time, since 2009, which sort of blew my mind there for a second, but it has been a little while. But moving on to the second round. Again, this is a weird game, but Dwight Howard, some nice things from him in this one.
My big thing is how they get their shots. They get to the rim basically whenever they want against the Dallas Mavericks specifically, because the Dallas Mavericks just lack that sort of interior defense. It was cool to see a couple guys win a series. It felt like Josh Smith had never gotten out of the first round the way he hugged Kevin McHale. He has, with the Atlanta Hawks multiple times. But yeah, there was a sloppy game. The Rockets, 15 turnovers in the first half. Very unlikely.
Missed a ton of free throws.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like a very nice, well-played basketball game. But they got it done, and James Harden, #1 guy for the first time, getting into the second round.
Their best defense, I think, we've seen from the Rockets in this series.
Yeah.
Again, offensively, it wasn't pretty, all the turnovers, all these free throws. But defensively, especially it starts with Dwight on the defensive end, just, blowing up, oops, like that situation, or just straight up blocks. I mean, he was good. He was great in this one.
The Mavs only shot 40% at the rim when he was on the floor. That's Dwight back to sort of 2009 Dwight, that effectiveness out there. And yeah, I mean, the Mavs don't have great guys who can go and finish at the rim anyway. But Dwight was really just trying to assert his authority and his dominance. And this is a really good sign for the Rockets, because James Harden, as you mentioned, didn't have a huge series. They didn't rely on him to carry them. Dwight instead showed what he could do when he's healthy and engaged.
Yeah, I've compared them to the 2001 Sixers for a while, and Dwight is being basically their Mutombo. He's just playing defense and dunking the ball anytime he can. It's been great, and he's been perfect for them so far.
Yeah, when the Mavs were not running off of Rockets turnovers, they only made 26 of 81 shots in sort of a half-court set. So they were definitely struggling to score, and a lot of that was because of the Rockets' defense. James Harden, though, Tass, you were talking about, I remember, heading into this series, whether or not this guy could finally be the #1 guy and take his team into the second round, and here he goes.
Al-Farouq Aminu did a pretty good job against them in this game. It's slowing him down. You look at James Harden's numbers, they're great because you can't stop James Harden. But I thought Al-Farouq did pester him a good deal. And one thing to worry about looking forward, we're always looking forward here on the Starters, is with James Harden, he committed 6 turnovers in this game, and that's because Al-Farouq pressured him and just forced him to get the ball out of his hands. And I think no matter if they play the Spurs and Kawhi Leonard or the Clippers, they're going to force him to get the ball out of his hands. And there's just some bad passes that he leaves the ball a little bit low for guys on pick and roll situations, basically at their ankles where they can't pick it up. So I'm a little bit worried about that going forward, although, you know, he looked good in general. And this entire team looks good in general. They just get a little sloppy at times.
Is anyone finding, though, a little difficult after this series because of what happened all with the Mavericks, the injury to Chandler Parsons, the whole Rondo situation, you know, Dirk looking a step slow, especially on the defensive end at times, that it's tough to sort of gauge the Rockets in a weird way?
Yeah,
it's almost like the Wizards and the Raptors as well. It's like, how good are the Wizards right now, or how bad were the Raps? And it's sort of a little similar to me with the Rockets and the Mavs series.
Yeah, maybe, but the other thing you can say is that the Rockets have been playing to their strengths. They've been doing everything they wanted. They have found things that work, and they keep going back to it. James Harden, we're saying he's not having a great series, but he averaged 30 and 8 for 5 games, which is pretty good, and hit a ton of big shots. They've been doing everything they wanted. Part of that is playing against the Mavericks, but the other part of it is they've been able to find guys that fill in for Donatas Motiejunas. They haven't missed Patrick Beverley at all. It'll depend on who they play in the next round, but I thought they looked great in the first.
Well, let me ask the question to you guys here and everyone watching. Let us know on Twitter, #TheStarters. Do you think the Rockets have a preference of who they would like to play in the second round?
Oh, it's the Clippers.
The Clippers or the Spurs? It's the Clippers.
Ooh.
Yeah, James Harden doesn't want Kawhi Leonard on him because he definitely averaged 30 and 8, but a lot of those were from the free throw line. The Spurs just don't foul, and I think that's a big part of it. That's a big part of James Harden's game, is getting there. And the fact is, the Rockets are doing a great job. More than half their shots in Game 5 were at the rim, which is key for them. I don't know, I think the Spurs are just going to do a better job of that, and it's just sort of that aura of going up against the San Antonio Spurs.
You
I
think
think
the
it's a big
Spurs
part of it.
I think the Spurs. I think that the Rockets would like having all the athletic advantages against the Spurs.
that's
That's
part of
something
it.
that has definitely given them trouble in the past.
As I said, let us know on Twitter, #TheStarters. Who do you think the Rockets prefer, Clips or Spurs, in the second round? Got to take another break. When we come back, though, should the Raptors just blow it up? We'll discuss that and more when we return.
We got mail. Woohoo!
Back with the starters, and yes, we have mail. You guys are great at sending in your questions. Keep them coming. Email us, thestarters@nba.com. Got a good one here for you guys. Guys, from Noah, he writes, what do you think the Raptors and GM Masai Ujiri will be up to this offseason? Who stays, who goes, and are there any players you'd like to see brought in, besides Paul Pierce, of course? Ooh, low blow from Noah there. Thanks. It's a good question. I mean, Raps swept by the Wizards in humiliating fashion, especially there in Game 4. Very disappointing season. Everyone thought this would be the year where they would win a playoff series for the first time in a long time. I spent a lot of money on apparel on the Raptors. Nearly $200 I dropped on them. So yeah, what do? Where do the Raptors go from here? Do they blow it up? Do they get rid of Casey? What do you think?
I think Masai starts the offseason by washing his mouth out with a little bit of soap. Well, let's take care of that first. I think everyone is expendable on this roster, including Kyle Lowry. I think he is not likely to be traded. Kyle Lowry is definitely their best player. Their backcourt is something they can be comfortable with in Kyle and DeMar going forward. But beyond that, I mean, you look at this roster, and it just seemed to be that they got a little bit better and got out to a great record because their backcourt carried them, but they just weren't that good. And that's where we are now. I'm a little bit concerned with Dwayne Casey and his style of play and how they sort of relied on that backcourt over and over and over and didn't get other guys involved. But they have a lot of money to spend because of all these contracts coming off the books. Approximately $27 million coming off the books, and guys like Amir Johnson, Landry Fields, Chuck Hayes, the sixth man in Lou, and others. But I just didn't like the style of play, and their personnel just isn't that great when you look at their projected roster. These guys are the ones who are signed going forward. Lowry, DeRozan, Ross, Patterson, and Valanciunas, your starting lineup.
Yeah, it does feel like around the trade deadline when everyone was like, why aren't the Raptors making any moves, that maybe Masai Ujiri sort of knew that this team was not one that was going to really contend for going deep in the playoffs or a conference finals or stuff like that. And so he wanted to keep his options open and have the creative cap space there to make some moves going forward. But what do you think about Coach Casey? Do you think Coach Casey should stay and continue with this team after 2 back-to-back years of first tying the franchise record for wins and then beating it this year with 49?
I think he should stay, but I don't think the signs are very good for him because you rarely see a team get blown out like they did in an elimination game. That, to me, says that the players have kind of tuned out their coach.
The Mavericks got to win. The Blazers got to win.
And they didn't really care. And, I mean, the Raptors, I mean, they were never really in that game either. So it's and there's obviously some friction there between Dwayne Casey and Kyle Lowry, and that doesn't necessarily mean the end. They can still work together, but when you're not having success and when you go out in the first round, it certainly doesn't help your case.
Jerry's got to find out what kind of team he wants to have from here on out, because right now it kind of seems like they stumbled into a pretty good team once they traded Rudy Gay, and they gave it a shot to see what kind of players they had. And right now, I said it doesn't really seem like you know if you're a defensive team, if you're an offensive team. So until he figures that out, it's hard to even figure out what to do with Dwayne Casey.
Yeah, there's obviously all the expiring contracts. There's a possibility of extending Valanciunas, and whether they do that the same with Terrence Ross. I mean, their holes. You're right. The backcourt, if they're going to stick with Lowry and DeRozan, you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Some people not the biggest DeRozan fans in the world.
2 All-Stars.
Yeah.
But the front court, really the small forward position and the power forward position is where they are very, very thin and could use some help. Be it a vet.
Paul Pierce, obviously.
Guy. Yeah, or Paul Pierce. Yeah, just go get Paul Pierce.
You get swept and then you compliment the guy who just kicked your butt.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
But there's some potential free
Canadians
agents,
are polite.
unrestricted names like DeMarre Carroll and Jeff Green, restricted guys, Tobias Harris, Chris Middleton, player options staying, Paul Pierce, one of those guys. And then there's bigs like Paul Millsap and Greg Monroe, and then maybe even trade possibilities like guys that minutes are sort of an issue, like in a Taj Gibson or a Monty Eunice and stuff like that.
Paul Millsap would be pretty much an ideal fit. Can play 3 or 4, plays defense, plays offense, has range. That would be awesome. And who knows? But you're right. They definitely need an upgrade at the 3 and the 4 position, and they would better be a tough guy. They better be a guy that can play both ways.
You're right about trying to figure out what type of team Jerry wants here. And that's my worry with Casey is that he's supposed to be this defensive-minded coach.
And their defense doesn't
And they have just one of the worst defenses in the league.
Well,
that doesn't make sense.
It would have been entirely different if their offense utilized everybody and didn't rely on their first 2 guys, their lead guys on defense, to do everything on offense, who were gassed at the end of the year.
It'll be interesting to see what Ujiri and the Raps do this offseason. I'm sure we'll be talking about them much, much more. Got to take a break. Coming up, Lili's very solid play. Welcome back to the starters. Time for Lili's very solid play of the night. Where are we going, Lee?
We're going to Los Angeles. The San Antonio Spurs were at it again last night.
Don't sound too excited, Lee.
Beautiful ball movement. Ends with a Tim Duncan layup. I mean, that's pretty much exactly what I want to see on a very solid play. Lots of ball work and ends with the old man just laying it in beautifully.
Yeah, don't dunk it.
That's what I call a very solid play.
There's those thumbs.
We also had a very solid wedgie last night. We show you every single wedgie that happens in the NBA. We had a playoff wedgie. James Harden playing that playoff defense, shoving that ball in between the rim and the glass.
Who gets credit for this wedgie? Is it the shooter or the defense?
It's got to be the D.
It's up in the air.
Oh, without the block, we don't have our 45th wedgie of the season.
Oh, 50 is definitely in play.
4 in a week.
There's only 4 months of playoffs left to go. We're going to get to 50, no problem. All right, tonight's games, Nets and the Hawks. Kaka! Lee Ellis and I will be down at the Fortress.
We'll be there.
Taz, you're coming too?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, good. We got you a ticket. So we'll be back here tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, paper towel can be hard, or paper towel can be soft.
Race the night, people.